never text back. I don't know, that girl she must be.
Hey, welcome everybody. I'm working on getting everybody up on the screen. Looking for all the ladies. There's Melinda. Hey everybody, so happy Tuesday everybody. We have some announcements to start out with. So Becky, you want to start with mom's group and group coaching?
Wow, can you even hear me?
Yeah.
That's a jet going. We're right in the flight pattern for JBLM. Anyway, what am I talking about?
Mom's group coaching.
Oh yeah, tomorrow, the mob, Mothers of Battlefield, 11 a.m. Zoom. You can get the link from me or Christy or Angie. Kristen, did I say Christy?
Yeah, you did.
Anyway, we get together on Zoom and talk about, whatever we talk about tonight, basically, or whatever's going on in our lives. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Maybe
That's okay.
I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let you guys take that on.
Okay. We'll keep you up there though, because you ladies look great. So mob, join us. Hey ladies, even if you haven't joined us before for a mob, please join us. You're welcome anytime, even if you're not always available. If you have a lunch break or something like that, join us. It's just 1 hour every Wednesday. We have a lot of fun. It's just really great getting to know each other more, talking about the topic and processing it from the night before. It's just great. So everybody's invited, whether you're a mom or just a lady, all ladies invited. So please join us. And then group coaching tomorrow night. Now we are pretty full tomorrow night, but if there's anybody left out there that's, going through it and just really needs to be a part, just shoot me a text. We can certainly help make that happen. It's going to be a fun night tomorrow. So packed house and it'll be a lot of fun. Next, Melinda, you want to let everybody know, just a reminder of Tough Mudder, the dates?
Yeah, Tough Mudder, September 24th. We already have 31 people on our team, so it's going to be really fun. Lots of help if you're scared of doing it. There'll be lots of people out there to help you, so you can still join. I also just realized there's a kids Tough Mudder, so our grandson's going to do the little mini mudder. He's 7. So if you have any little kids in your family or friends that want to join, spectators, bring their kids. We can start a little mini team. That will be fun. Weekend before, that's the 17th, we're going to do a get together. We're not quite sure where yet, but just to meet everybody. Hopefully we'll have our jerseys so you can have it before the day of, so we don't have to deal with that. I think that's it. Super fun. Join us.
Oh, it's going to be so great, you guys. And now, Kristen, can you tell us just a quick update about gear?
Yeah.
And is it too late for a supporter Tough Mudder to get a shirt? Or can they still squeeze in?
I mean, I ordered them last night, so.
Oh, you did?
I mean, I could ask her if we could, we might be able to.
Okay, I might have spoke too soon. I was thinking it wasn't quite in yet, so I was gonna say they could still sneak in, but no, you can't sneak in anymore. Forget that.
Well, you can ask me, and I can ask her. She just ordered them last night, so. Yeah, they're really cool supporter jerseys. They have our logo on the front and then the back, and it says Battlefield Supporter. So they're kind of cool because they can be supporter for all sorts of Battlefield events. So it's going to be cool. Monthly partner barbecue this Sunday, Jean Coulon Park. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a ton of people there. If you're not a monthly partner yet, let me know. You can contact me, or you can go on to battlefielsaddiction.com, and then there's a donate button, and just push that and push reoccurring, and you will be able to come to the monthly partner barbecue. If you don't know if you're a monthly partner or not, sometimes the donations will lapse, like the credit card expires or something, and I try to contact people and they don't get back to me. So if you don't know if you're a monthly partner or not, let me know and I can look you up. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be a hoot. Jean Coulon Park, Sunday morning. Try to get there by about 10 or before 10 because parking might be kind of challenging. It's going to be a hot or busy day probably there on a Sunday. So we're just come and have a bunch of fun. We're pretty excited.
And we're going to have some really good food. So Art is actually going to be making his famous chili. So we're going to have burgers and hot dogs and the famous chili. So it's going to be awesome. So you definitely don't want to miss it. We want everybody there. And then last but not least is, monthly partner barbecue. Bring your own chairs. Bring your own folding chairs, camping chairs, whatever for your family, or blanket for the park. So definitely you want to bring that. That's the only thing you need to bring. But definitely bring that. Last is, and most important, is the people are still rolling in. Yay. The auction. So I think everybody knows, but let me remind you. So the auction is on Saturday, October 22nd. It is a new location this year, so don't get it confused with where we've always had it before. We are in a new, beautiful location in Enumclaw. Now seats are limited, so you do want to get your seats early. We do anticipate there's just no way we're not going to sell out. So we anticipating selling out a lot sooner than we normally do. So you'll want to get your tickets, and you'll want to share with your friends so they can all get your tickets, and all your favorite people can be there. The most important thing right now for our focus to be right now is, number one, selling the tickets, and number two, procuring items. And thank you to those of you. There's yeses are starting to roll in on procurement, so that's super, super exciting. Tomorrow we have an auction meeting. So we're going to really get rolling with tomorrow. We're going to have our posters. They have arrived at the Kent's house for us. So we're going to have posters to go canvas our towns. We're going to have postcards. So we're just asking everybody that is willing to go out for an hour or two in your town, hang up posters to the businesses that you frequent on their bulletin boards, on their windows. Postcards. We're going to have all those materials tomorrow at the Kent house. So if you're coming to the auction meeting, you'll be able to go home with whatever you need. If you're not coming, but you can stop at the Kent house soon, let us know. We'll make sure to get whatever materials you need. So you can go out and do that. And then there's also the procurement forms. So when you go out and you ask, the restaurant, when you have dinner out on Friday nights, you just ask them, have you heard of Battlefields? We're having an auction, a fundraiser event. Would you be willing to, can talk to your manager? Would you be willing to donate a gift card, products, whatever it is. So it's pretty simple to get out there and ask for things, and things are starting to roll in. So we will put the pedal to the metal after tomorrow's meeting and get rolling on all that. And Renee and Kristen are both heading up their tag teaming on heading up the silent auction procurement. So they're going to be tracking that and rolling out different ideas. Do you have anything to share today, Renee? I didn't check with you first.
Not really. I just want you guys to keep us in mind, just like what Angie said. So if you're out there, if you just have a couple hours and you want to walk around, it's beautiful, stop in and ask people, just try and spread the word. And I know Bill, I don't know if he still is, I'm sure he is, but they're looking for experiences too. So, keep that in mind. If you know anyone that I know, I don't have friends right now that have them, but I had friends that used to have all those timeshares and they couldn't use them for whatever reason. Like that's the kind of things that would really help out, like somebody to have an experience, or if you have a cabin that you like to share that they could go fishing, that would be wonderful. So anything, just keep your eyes open, and like it doesn't have to be a full basket. So if it's a particular item that you make, we'll take, you make or you gather, we'll take it and we'll make a basket for you. So just keep this in mind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Renee. Yeah, go ahead. Let's get an update from Bill. He gave me some good news today. Bill, where are you?
Yeah, let me take you over to the outdoor recliner.
Perfect. Oh, hey, there we go.
Yeah. No, we had great success this weekend with some really nice items. Some of them were in the auction in the past, and we had great success we put our little condo in, but that's great, but we got the community, the restaurants in the area, the golf courses, they all, immediately contributed to our little condo thing. So it gives people something to do while they're over there. We ask and we received. There are so many people over there in that community that have faced the same things. They have terrible problems over in the Plain and Lake Wenatchee area. So they were very generous, more generous than I thought they'd be. So it really added to what we're offering. It really added a lot to it. So don't be afraid to ask, because as soon as you mention it, people say, me too, or our family too, or our friends too. And they're very anxious to help and contribute. So it's not my favorite thing to do, to ask, but once you do it a few times, it gets easier and easier. So
that's awesome.
Condo package is going to be the best.
Which one?
Our condo package.
Oh, yes, yes. It's going to be a goodie.
Gonna be
Yes.
good.
What a good point that Bill made. You know, it always gets scary for me too when I go out. For some reason, those first 2 or 3 are always like, but then after a few, then it's like, sheesh, why did I make that so hard? I mean, this is ridiculous because yes, no, there's nobody not touched by addiction. And when you open your mouth, it also opens up an opportunity to say, oh my gosh, you're going through this. You got to call Battlefield. They can help. So yeah, it's crazy that we do that, but we're all the same there.
Yeah,
We
it's
all have-
amazing how many of them just didn't even let us finish talking. They just were handing us, a donation. It was
Came over
crazy.
and sat at our table.
Yeah.
Wanted to share their experience.
Yeah.
One guy was
Anyway.
from New Jersey. You know, he wasn't
Yeah.
even from this area, and
Yeah,
he hit his community back there real hard. His friends and family.
yeah, yeah. Good point. Awesome. Well, thank you for getting out there and much appreciated. So,
I'm gonna mute
right
before the planes come up around again.
So is
all
Cameron,
right.
is Cameron in earshot? I need to hear from Cameron.
Yeah, I sent him your number earlier. So Cam
Okay.
Cousineau, Bill's waiting to hear from you. Your dad had some timeshare and he'd love to talk more. So please reach out to Bill. I messengered him your phone number. So
Okay, cool.
thanks, Cam. All right. Thank you, ladies. Let's move it on. We'll get everybody muted here and we'll move over to the basement crew here. And I think we got some good comedy going on tonight. I got a little sneak listen earlier. So let's give me just a moment. All right. Hey, Kyle. So if you're new tonight, this is Mr. Kyle Munkers. He's a manager over there at Rebuild Recovery, but he's also our comedian, brings us a little bit of comedy each week. So take it away, Kyle.
MILF announcements. And Bill. And Bill.
Bill.
Yeah. Bilf. Yeah. Bill. All right. A couple of these are Monk's classic. So if you've never heard some of them before, great. If you have, congratulations. I'm gonna do them anyway. All right. So my dad is a Navy SEAL. You know, it's no big deal. He's a Navy SEAL. But one time he got hit with mustard gas and pepper spray at the same time. He's a seasoned veteran. Why do dinosaurs make such terrible pets? Because they're dead. Now, I was thinking today, do homeless people really get knock-knock jokes? Yesterday, I was standing naked in the mirror, and I thought to myself, oh, I'm probably getting kicked out of IKEA. What did Jay-Z call his wife before they got married? Beyonce. Little play on words. A few weeks ago, we got this new client. He's highly schizophrenic, but he's good people. Stamp. The problem in my family isn't obesity. The problem is nobody runs or exercises. Did I do it wrong? The problem is, I got it. The problem isn't that obesity runs in my family. The problem is nobody runs. What's the only part of the vegetable you can't eat? That's right. The wheelchair. Yeah, that's a good one. What's worse than ants in your pants? Uncles.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. Thank you for putting yourself out there every week, Kyle. We love it. You make everybody laugh.
Yeah, right.
You bring everybody smiles. All right.
So last week how's it sound, Dunch?
Good.
last week we talked, you know, I spoke about, and just so all you, if anyone's kind of joining us late, or this has been going on for 7 years. So we've been doing this every Tuesday for 7 years. We've done over, I would say 350 solution groups. And the topics have ranged, and it's called solution group, but it's more philosophical, and group coaching is more practical and strategic. And this is just about just making you think. And so last week we did the group about this program being about nothing specific, just kind of what sticks and what you.
Uh-oh. We lost you. It's not just me, right? Okay. We lost you guys over there. Whatever happened last week, it just happened again. They'll fix it. We'll wait. So whatever happened at that very moment was what happened last week. We'll give it a second here. There's still people rolling in. Nothing yet. All right, well, let me try to think of something that hasn't been talked about. My mind is blank.
I was going to say one thing. If you want to donate a basket, you just are dying to donate something, and you want to donate a basket, but you're not really sure. Renee has a huge list of like over 100 different ideas for baskets. So like dog baskets and bath baskets and all sorts, you know, Italian dinner baskets and stuff. So yep, there it is. So you can contact Renee. You can also contact me, and I can get it to you through Renee. So,
yeah, I was just gonna say, how would someone get that list? Can we post it on the private group on Facebook?
Yeah, on the Family's Battle. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can post it in the Family's Battle. Get some ideas. I know this picture came through on my. Actually, I meant to send it to Renee, and I don't think I got that far yet. But it's one from the past that was like a date night basket, and it was just so cute how it was done. It had like maybe 5 or 6 different gift cards. One was for the movie, one was for the dinner, one was for dessert, you know, and they put it into a basket with these little steaks or whatever, and it was just really cute. It's such a simple thing. That was really a cute idea. Sherry says, I will get some fancy olive oil for a kitchen type basket. Great. Thank you, Sherry. And then Pam, what time is the auction meeting tomorrow? 4 o'clock. So 4 o'clock at the Kent house. And then 6 o'clock is group coaching. So if anybody wants to come to both, you certainly can. And then if you can't come to the auction meeting, but you still want to be part of helping for the auction, no worries. We're still a couple months away. And when we get closer, like we get 3 to 4 weeks out, that's when we're going to be assigning things, you know, different things. So there'll be a place for everybody. Right now, our priority right now is procurements. Like without items, we don't have an auction. So really that's what our main focus is right now anyway. So don't worry if you're working and you can't make it, it's okay. We'll fill you in. We'll find a spot for you that we could use some help. And the biggest way that people can help right now is just getting out to your local, you know, businesses that you frequent, contacts that you have. And like Kristen and Renee are saying, if you want to just put together your own, like there's been a lot of people in the past that just go out and they pick their theme and they buy all these things, they put their own basket together. And if you're not like one to put the actual physically put the basket together, we can do that for you. I know that I'm the kind too. I just buy the items and hand over the bag. Here, you make it pretty. Great, thanks, Pam. So she'll bring some stuff together. But yeah, we'll make it pretty. If you like doing that kind of stuff, it'd be great if you want to make something fancy, but you definitely don't need to do that. We'll have a big basket wrapping party at the beginning of October. And then we'll invite anybody who wants to come help, and we just make a day out of it and put all the baskets together and make them all fancy. So.
And Angie, a couple of people have asked me, like, what do they do with their things? Have we decided if
Oh,
where-
yeah,
where they're
let's,
going?
good
Just
question.
hang-
Let's figure that out and nail it tomorrow.
Okay.
What I foresee is there'll be a drop point here in Enumclaw, my house, drop point in Lake Tapps, Kristen's house, drop point in Tacoma, your house, Renee, drop point up north, maybe Melinda or Jen. So we'll appoint some drop points. And then after tomorrow, we can start communicating that to people as they have their stuff. If the person can drop it off at a location, great. If we need to pick it up, we'll arrange that too. So yeah, we'll figure out those drop points. In fact, do we have Rebuild Back? I think we might. I just not seeing their screen yet. There they are. Spotlight. Okay. So stay tuned on further information about the auction. After tomorrow, we'll get everything more fine-tuned and communicate all that out to y'all. So thanks, everybody. Okay, we're back. So whatever that was just happened. Oh, can't hear you. No. We'll get it fixed, y'all. It seems like whatever just happened was the exact same thing that happened last week. So who knows what that is? We can pinpoint that. Nothing yet. So for the monthly partner barbecue on Sunday, also you guys bring the kiddos. So if you got kids, bring them. We're gonna have cornhole going on. It's just gonna be really fun. There's a little playground there. Let's get Renee back. There's a little playground. You know, there's the lake if it's open right now. I know it was closed a little bit ago. Hey, Renee.
Hey, I'm willing to teach a yoga class if anybody wants to do that at the park. I'll bring my mat.
Ooh, okay.
It's easy. You know, I won't do anything crazy, but if anybody wants to join me, I'll just bring my mat, bring your mat, and we can do a little yoga.
That's awesome. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, there's some cool trees too that will give some shade for that. Gene Coulon Park is pretty. Okay, I think we got sound back.
Over there?
Yes.
Okay. Yay.
All right. Yay. Thanks for
So that was a
hanging
long
with us.
way. That was a long way around me saying to Kristen and Becky and everyone that's tried to help kind of compartmentalize what we do and go for these grants and do all that stuff. I didn't want to act like that there isn't a lot of gratitude towards all the work that's followed around trying to pick up the pieces of the shit I say and put it together into something palatable for people. And so I wanted to make sure that I'm grateful for that, and that, although I'm grateful for the people that said write a book and try to put it down, and I'm grateful and honored that people even listen to the material and remember it. And I'm grateful for Lori Dersh, who used to write down every word and put it into a format that people could read later. And so I just wanted to make sure that Becky, that I appreciate you, and that Kristen, I appreciate you, and Sherry Pennington and Carrie Burrows and all the people that really try to put it together. So although I just
Yeah. Well, hoping didn't show up this time.
just the camera.
Yeah.
It's a
I
mic.
don't know what it is.
We can still hear you.
Oh,
Well, that's good to know.
camera. Yeah.
Well, Mark, just thank you for putting yourself out there at least.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and think of art and listen to words.
Put a picture of me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your art,
Like a South Park now.
That would be a pretty decent exposure.
Yeah. I'll dig it.
Well, we don't have anybody new on tonight, so everybody understands this is not normal.
I mean, it's lower
All right.
quality, but
We got lower quality video, I guess, but we got video now. Nico told me.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, I just want to clear that up, and make sure that, although I don't have some type of format that, and now I'm going to kind of explain why and what I think of all that. And man, it's tough to see you guys. I think I was fifth grade when I first started playing the identity game. I was in fifth grade, and man, I was going to be a football player or a basketball player for sure. My identity was all wrapped up in that. I remember that was when I got my first pair of Jordans, and the old ones, the first one they ever came out. Mine were the black and white, or not the black and red ones, but the white, black and red ones. Those were the ones I got. And so that was the first pair of Jordans ever gotten. And I was going to play basketball or football, and I wore jerseys and I watched football, and my whole little being, who I was a football player or an athlete. And then, you go along and you start figuring out. So I'd like you to consider, what was your first thing you were going to be? Think of, the time where you were going to be something. And then as I went on and progressed in life, my identity goals became lower and lower. And at some point I tried drugs. And when I tried drugs, I came back to school after the weekend of trying drugs, and I got a lot of attention. People thought I was dangerous. People thought I would do anything. People thought, man, this guy drank himself to almost death last weekend. And I got a lot of attention for that. And so what ended up happening was drug addiction really quickly became my identity. I didn't have anything else. So being a drug addict was who I was. And I was pretty proud of that. I can tell you honestly, I was proud of it. There was nothing else on the slate that I was going to be. I looked around Washington State. I couldn't see what kind of job. I wasn't no longer going to be an actor. I wasn't going to be a fireman. Didn't care if I went to school. I didn't really have anything that I aspired to. And so every one of you, I'm sure, played this identity game. And if you see it, what happens is that identity is really sticky. And if you know what it is, it means I start having these things that I bring into my personality. What happens is I become my experiences. So what happens is I experience something, and then I use that experience to make my identity. And so it's a weird thing. Now, it didn't used to be like this. Okay, there's a lot of people in America that did the work, and the work culminated in an identity. People were able to go to Boeing. I just was with my family in a family reunion, and most of these people all worked for Boeing. My whole family, and they're all retired. They're all retired Boeing. Boy, they retired early. They got tons of money. And what they did was they did work to experience life. So they went to Boeing and they did the work, and they took that money, and they didn't use Boeing so much as their identity. It wasn't who they were. It was what they did. They worked for Boeing. It didn't make them anything. And then they got the money and they experienced life, and they were able to become, just experience life with that money. And I think what's changed is young people want the identity now without the work. They don't want to do anything. They just want the identity. I want to be known as this. I want to be known as that. I want to be an influencer on TikTok, or I want to be, I want to be whatever I want to be, but I want this quick identity without the work. And identity is very sticky. So you see how quickly it can become a fentanyl addict, and how that identity can play pretty good. And if this is an identity crisis, and it's just a philosophy, it's not saying it's true, but for me, it was true. For me, drugs felt really good, but also what felt good was being known as the scary guy, known as the guy that'll try anything, known as the partier. No, I used to carry a briefcase with my drugs. I like to have them all in a briefcase and bring them to the party and open up the briefcase and get that attention. And I had different compartments for different types of drugs. And so possibly we're suffering here from an identity. And then I got older and older, and the drug identity really starts not playing well. You can't, when you're 35, You can't go around telling people you're a drug addict and have people appreciate it. Nobody cares. Nobody goes, man, you really do a lot of drugs, and that's awesome. I love how you smoke crack. It doesn't really work that way. And they go, oh man, watching you smoke fentanyl and nod off, boy, you're cool. Man, you are really cool. Seeing you be homeless, God, that's cool. But see, now homeless has become an identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so now people are homeless and you hear them. It was always fascinating to me when I saw people come into my program. And the way they told me I go, where were you? And they said they were homeless. And the way they said it, the pride, and this was 10 years ago until now, the pride that people had with saying, I'm homeless.
Came from the streets.
Yeah, came from the streets. I'm homeless. Really? You're a bum. It used to be known what's called homeless was a bum. It meant you were a bum.
Yeah.
That's what we called it. All through the 80s, all through the 90s, anyone that was living on the streets was called a bum. Well, now we call them homeless, and people are proud of it. It's an identity. So what happens is these experiences become our identity, whatever it is. So you can't even get a guy that jumps out of planes. He doesn't like skydive. He's a skydiver. You can't get a pilot anymore to fly planes and say, I just fly planes. No, he's a pilot. So almost everything becomes our identity. Everything we do becomes our identity. We do drugs, it becomes our identity. We get sober. Oh, watch out. And so when I got into this program, what I saw was, and we started creating this program, one of the things that I saw as a big problem is if this was an identity crisis, if we all are suffering, before I got sober, I had an identity depression. I can tell you that's where my depression was found. My depression came forth and I was depressed as a human being because I lacked an identity. Because when you get at the end, it doesn't work. And then when you get sober and you got nothing, your depression can hit. Because what are you? What do you have to say? What do you have to claim to the world? Now your experiences are what? Now you can't go experience vacations, or you can't do any of this, and you don't have any money. So getting at the beginning of sobriety, it's very tough. Because why is it tough? Well, you're depressed because you got no identity. You got nothing to say about yourself. Very tough. So inevitably, what I began to see when I was in the 12-step stuff, and the things that I saw started happening, was that form of sobriety became people's identity. And being a drug addict still was somebody's identity. Being a recovering drug addict became somebody's identity. Stopping drugs is an experience. It's not supposed to be an identity. Getting sober is an experience, not supposed to be an identity, I imagine. And so I saw this thing where people were using sobriety as an identity. And I thought that was weird. So we suffer from this identity crisis. And then what we do is we replace it with a new identity. And we always are in constant need of this identity. Always a new one coming up. What am I next? What am I next? What am I next? Oh, this doesn't work anymore. I'm so-and-so's boyfriend. We break up. Now what am I? Somebody's husband, somebody's father. It's always this sticky thing. And so one of the things that I found that we could do here maybe is we could make it so getting sober for you doesn't have to be your identity. Maybe getting sober for you and the modality of it doesn't have to be. And there was all this anger when people take on a modality as their form of identity, because now I have to defend the modality. Now I have to defend what I do rather than what it makes me. And so this identity thing is so in depth. And maybe you're sitting here tonight and you don't even understand that you're in the middle of an identity crisis. Maybe you don't understand. You don't want to speak up because what am I? What do I get to say I am? So people ask you, and what do you say? So this thing inside of us called a self is constantly looking for something to stick to, constantly looking for something to be. It's not enough to be. It needs to be something. And so if you see this inside, and then you look, well, maybe I don't want sobriety to be my identity, but when you see it, you can start having options. What do I want my identity to be? What do I want to be known for? But now be very careful, because the work has to precede the identity. Right now, people want the identity first, and they feel they're entitled to it without the work. People all want to be the boss. People all want to be the leader. People all want to be the manager. People all want to be something. But do you want to do the work that it takes to become that? And what I see is this reverse. I just post on Facebook that that's who I am. And all of a sudden I get that identity. All the time on Facebook now, I see people, I always wonder that when somebody posts about human beings being kind, I always think they're not kind. They just got done yelling at somebody or something like that. And they want kindness to be their identity, and they're putting that forth. So I wanted to just be quick tonight. I just wanted to talk about that, in that why I didn't want this modality of treatment to be somebody's new identity. I didn't want people to have to defend it. I want people to fucking cling to it and say, this is who I am. What you do is not who you are. Yes, I've quit drugs. That doesn't mean anything about who I am. So weird too, identity. It's like we're all in this game. Boy, we can just look at people. I went to my families and you just sit there. And I'm sure they can see the same of me, but I'm sitting at my family reunion. I'm looking around and I have a lot of eclectic mix of people in my family. I have people that are deaf. I have people that have Down syndrome. I have cousins that are LGBTQ. I have, all along. But as each one of them comes up, just looking at the way they dressed, I can tell what their opinions are in politics. I can just tell. And they're walking up and it was I am the outcast black sheep of my family because I happen to have certain conservative values. I happen to not think, I don't hate Trump. In my family, you have to hate Trump to get along by the fire. And so, I just don't hate him. I don't find Trump a genius. I think he's ridiculous. And I think Democrats and Republicans are all ridiculous. And our identity politics, you see what there's going on there. Oh, let me guess. One, you love guns. Also, you're not a big fan of the transgender people. Let me guess. Let me guess. You want welfare for everyone, and and you're also pro-life. Let me guess. And somebody never goes, "Hey, I'm like pro-abortion and I love guns." Just can't possibly happen, huh? Nobody can do that. Nobody can say, "Hey, I don't want abortion, and I also want gay people to be treated fair." Can't happen. So this identity thing is the sickness of our society. We've turned every experience. And what's even worse, the hard work to get a good identity it's tough. And a good identity has stuff to do with it, like honor, word, integrity. It has nothing to do with your job, nothing to do with what you do. It has to do with who you are about keeping your word, who you are about doing what you say, who you are about looking people on the eye. That's the true identity. That's the true, what you will do, the generosity that you are, how you're willing to make an impact. Do you help people? Do you provide good energy or poor energy? This is what an identity is formed on. We've got this craziness that says, I just get to say I'm a truck driver, a school teacher, or this and that, and somehow that means something to us as people. And so it's insane. And even worse than that, in Washington State, it's very tough to get a good identity. It's hard. What are you going to be? You ain't going to be an actor from Washington State. You ain't going to be what are you going to do? To start your own business and get big real quick? What are you going to do to get an identity? And so then it's very scary, because that's why we have what we have in Washington State. We have two types of identities that are cheap and quick, and they're victim and hero. And it's cheap and quick. And all of a sudden, my problems become my identity. I tell you why I'm a victim and what my problem is, and I never solve my problem because now I would lose my identity. So here it is. I have a problem. Or then the heroes come. Being gay isn't an identity. It's an experience. It's something people do. It's something you don't have to identify with it. We don't identify with anything in this fashion. And so all of a sudden now in Washington State, because it's hard to get a good, honorable identity, it's hard to be known as a person of your word. It's hard to be known as somebody that goes to work every day at Boeing for 30 years and never calls in sick. And somebody goes, what about that person? They go, never called in sick 30 years. Nobody cares about that shit anymore. Nobody goes, hey, I worked 30 years, never was late, never called in sick. That's not cool. And that's not a cool, quick identity anymore. Oh, I get down to CHOP and all of a sudden I go down there and tell everybody that I'm also now Black Lives Matter has now become an identity for white people. Loving other races is just something we can do as an experience. It doesn't have to be your identity. And so now all these quick forms of sickness has developed. And with this program, I think it's sick. I think there's a form of sickness to take doing drugs or not doing drugs as a form of your identity. How does that have anything to do with who you are? And all of a sudden now what? You go 5 years from now and you've been a recovering addict. There's some devastation when you do drugs again. You don't get to call yourself a recovering addict anymore. You got to call yourself a drug addict again, an active addiction. And now all of a sudden what are you going to do? Well, you better take it all the way then. You better go and actually show off and get high really good. Don't do it just stupidly. Don't come back and go, I just had a little and I'm back. They'll go, boo. You didn't do it right. So we're turning our experiences into an identity. And when that doesn't work and it's not flashy enough and people don't validate you, then all of a sudden we start taking quick ways. I'm this victimized group. No. We're more victimized than you. No. We're facing more racism than you. Then the heroes come in and go, I'll save them. You bad white people, you bad race, you bad this. You guys are the problem. Identity. So this came about from like, come on, guys, experience life. You don't have to attach to any of it. You can actually, what would I look like driving a Prius? You see, all of a sudden I roll up in a Prius. Art, that doesn't fit your identity. Why are you driving a Prius? Who drives Priuses? Liberals. They're the clean air people. They're the climate change people. Why can't one Republican believe in climate change again? It's only a Democratic liberal issue. So here we are. We're in this identity crisis trying to solve it with a new identity. Let me solve it by just clashing onto something. And temporarily that shit works. That day you walk in and somebody goes, no, you're not a drug addict anymore. You're a grateful member of our club. You didn't have to do anything to qualify. You just had to put your butt in the seat. Now you can go around and tell everyone you're a grateful member of our club. And then somehow that's going to keep me sober. Can't do that. Here, you either have honor or you don't. You have your word or you don't. You're a liar or a truth teller. We got to look at you and see. You don't get to just say you're something. You're accountable. We're going to UA you and see if you're experiencing drug use or not. Let's just get to claim it. So identity is this thing. Mike said earlier today, Michael said, so I'll put on my spacesuit and play this. Yeah. These little spacesuits everyone's throwing on. I don't know if it was like that before. Some of the identities people wanted to be back in the day: provider, strong family man, taking care of my kids, father, husband. These took work. You actually had to do what you say you were doing. Couldn't lie about it. Now everybody just looking for a quick little, there is no quick identity. What am I? I don't know, man. I hope when they talk about me, they don't say I'm a treatment provider. I hope they say he's a man of his word. He does what he says. He's not normal. He's crazy. He doesn't do shit ordinarily. I don't have an identity. I can't find one that I would tell you I am. So that way I'm not going to have another crisis. See, that little 5th grade kid, when I had that identity crisis, I remember coming home, I couldn't even watch basketball or football because I had figured out I'm not going to play basketball or football. And it was too painful to watch other people playing it. And I had nothing. And then I saw my friend, he was Tolo King. Oh, man, he's so much cooler than me. He was Tolo King. And then there was a girl, and she was Homecoming Queen. And we give him that identity. What were you? I'm Homecoming Queen. And everyone's fighting for that identity. Fighting for the king. That's what we're doing to kids. Hey, you need an identity, little guy. You can't just experience life. Don't worry about your word and honor and dignity and respect. Toughness. Get an identity. You got to be something. I was not very good at math, not very good at school. I was average. I was average looking. I wasn't an athlete. I couldn't claim to be anything. I wasn't a very hard worker. I was pretty manipulative and persuasive. I wasn't funny enough to be a comedian. So drug addict was a great little move. Boy, they were talking about me. And so the point of throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks is that we're not talking about just creating, I'm coming here and I got sober this way. And because I am, well, what about a vegan? It's not enough that people that eat that food. They have to call themselves something. And then we fight. I'm a vegan. That's the best way to eat. I don't know. I'm a vegetarian. I don't know the difference. Then the vegetarians and vegans go, you're stupid. Oh, you're stupid. I'm better than you. Vegan. What's the other one? Plant-based. I'm plant-based. Oh, that's who you are? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're an omnivore. Or an herbivore. I'm a carnivore. It's so weird. There's people that have a BMW, and I know there's clubs. I remember this old man I used to play poker with named Bob. He had a Corvette. He was in a Corvette club. So him and the Corvette owners, that's their identity. Yeah. You drive a Corvette, that's an experience. No. That's who I am. Mustangs, pieces of shit. Ford, I'm a Ford. I drive Ford, that's my identity. I'm a Ford man. Nah, Chevy's no good? No, Chevy's no good. What a loser. He drives a Chevy. What? I'm a toothbrusher. Hi, I'm Art. I'm a toothbrusher. I wear shoes. Hi, I'm Art. I wear shorts sometimes. What?
Danny's a cat.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm Art. I'm a grateful cat owner. I have 2 cats. What do you have, a dog? Cats are better. We're insane. And then you're trying to combat the insanity of the experience of drug addiction and combat all that insanity with just patching a new identity over it. Who cares about the pain, the mental stuff? Don't worry about that. Just tell yourself you're in recovery. Just say it. And say you're grateful. I'm a grateful recovering addict. No, you're not. You complained all day today. All you do is complain. No, I'm grateful. Well, you can call yourself that. But being grateful isn't an identity. We've turned compassion for human beings has turned into people's identity. Yeah. Yeah, I'm an empath. What does that mean? That means that you guys just don't feel the way I do.
Apparently it's fun.
Yeah. I'm a mother of an addict. Whoa, whoa. Really? What were you before he was an addict? Just a mother. Just a typical mom. Well, are you excited about your kids being an addict? Yes, because I can call myself. I'm up in myself. I was just a mother before. Now, yeah, mother. Well, that's a problem. Your kid's doing drugs, he might die. That's a problem. Don't identify with your problems. You start identifying with your problems, you'll need them to stick around. I struggle with money. Well, you're going to do that the rest of your life. Go ahead. You'll do it until you stop saying you struggle with it. So all this identity stuff is tricky. Because guess what? Everyone needs one. You can't be blank, man. Even a monk has an identity. Right when I said the word monk, you pictured what they do, what they look like, how they act, where they're sitting, how they sit. Oh, he's sitting cross-legged. Must be a monk. There's not a monk. Why can't a monk just go, dude, I'm chilling? That's not part of the monk's identity. You got to sit. Yeah. Brown's part of our identity for some reason.
Brown beige.
Yeah, we wear brown and beige. No white? No.
Yeah. How do you feel about cul-de-sac haircut?
Ooh. Football player. Oh man, what happens when you're not a football player anymore? How many people here, they had an identity in high school and it was going pretty well for you and then you got hurt? Motocross. I know a lot of kids that were in motocross and got hurt and lost that identity. Yeah. There's one right there. Yeah. Now my identity's gone. Oh shit. I'm scrambling. Because my aunt's going to ask at the family reunion, what are you? Oh shit. Got to tell them. So hopefully what this turns into is that you can stop using, you can have all kinds of experiences. You can have all kinds of problems. None of them are who you are. So we can stop saying that. I don't have to call myself a drug addict. I don't have to call myself a recovering addict. I don't have to call myself a cornhole player because I played cornhole. I'm a boat owner. I'm in the club. There was Bob with his Corvette meeting the other dudes. How weird. I don't know. Fisherman. I'm a fisherman. Okay. Got one of those boats? Of course I got one of those boats. So we're just in a scramble. Identity politics, identity victims, identity heroes. No longer do we talk about honor and word and dignity and respect and on time and providing, helping, making an impact on other people, smiling. All that stuff's got to be, all those experiences has got to be compartmentalized on Facebook so you can tell people who you are. Not good enough that we just do the experience. No. How am I going to be cooler than people?
Take pictures helping at the soup kitchen.
Yeah. I can't be a vegan unless everybody knows. So I'll start posting my vegan shit on Facebook and tell everybody how they should eat. This is how you should eat. Oh, I should post my Oreos. Boom. That's how you should eat. I'm a Doritos fan. Put my orange fingers. Can't you tell who I am? See my Dorito fingers? So again, long way to tell you that the program was, that I didn't like that. I didn't like that people identified with a modality of sobriety or a modality of eating or a modality of anything that then quickly would make them somehow think that they were superior to other people because they practiced that modality. So you can't latch on to anything here and go run it. We don't need to defend it. You don't need to tell anyone about it. You just go, whoa, this is what it is. We have these experiences, and then we have some more, and we learn. And through the information, I get better. The information gives me more ways to look at life and think, and that's how I get better. And you can't quantify help. You can't. You know, the people that I help the most, I do the least for. That's been the truth every single time. The people that we help the most, we do the least for. They sit here quietly, they get the information, and they take it and run with it and change their lives. And whenever we find ourselves helping people more, we're hurting them. So most of the people I help, I give about 10% and they give about 90%. And as soon as I find myself giving 50% or more, I don't help that person anymore. And we as a society think that we should help people. And what that always means is that we should do 60% for them and let them do 40%. Or we should do 90 and let them do nothing. And we call that help. It ain't. Someone gives you a 1% little nugget and you go, oh shit, that helped. So that's some of my reasoning behind all of it. But there they are. See, even the government wants us to have an identity before they give us money. No, you need an identity. You need to claim what you do is who you are. And once you tell us who you are, they're not asking who we are. They're saying, who are you? But what they're saying is, what do you do? That's who you are. As an organization, you need an identity. You need to say what you do, and then we'll make that your identity. And they can't even fathom giving us any money without that. We're an organization that does this. That's who we are. No, it's not. That's the craziness of identity. What side of the aisle are you on? Okay.
Okay. Gonna open it up.
I wanna. Yeah.
All right, let's open it up, everybody. So we've got 20 minutes left. So comments, questions, anybody out there going through it needs a coaching moment. Everything's welcome. So all you got to do is just use the raise your hand feature on your device if you can't figure that out. See, I'm raising my hand. And if you can't figure that out, you can unmute yourself, get my attention in the chat, whatever you got to do. I'll find you.
Remember when being an American was an identity people were proud of?
Patriotism.
Yeah. Remember people said, I'm an American.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder when the last time you hear that is anymore.
9/11.
Yeah.
Not in this state.
Yeah. That's sick because that one could be okay. You know? Yeah. I'm an American. Whoa. It's hard though. Well, which side of America are you on? It's like Korean, north or south?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red or blue.
Yeah. You guys all aren't just Americans. Yeah.
You go anywhere east of Kent, I mean, it's all like, oh, we're Americans. There's fucking flags everywhere and shit. Anywhere east of like Covington,
Oh, east.
American flags.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't think it's that rare.
Well, again, you're also talking about whenever somebody's saying an American, they always also seem to be a Republican. That's really still proud of America.
Nobody who's not conservative.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not proud of us anymore. They're not proud of it. Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. So
Danny.
Art, you kind of
Yeah.
went over your identity issue
What?
growing up and not being able to be a football player or basketball player, then with your drug addiction and going through withdrawals and becoming the person that you are today, did you go through bouts of anger, trying to decide what you were going to be? Because you couldn't be those two people, you couldn't be in those two sports anymore, and what were you going to do?
Yeah, I destructed until I couldn't destruct anymore, and then the first years of my sobriety, I did exactly what the world tells you to do, and I went after the recovering addict identity, and I did, and I clinged on to it, and I luckily, fortunately for me, when I got the recovering addict identity and the drug addiction identity, that's all I had. And so then I grabbed on to recovery. And when I grabbed on to recovery, I was a student. So I wanted to know everything about it. So I read whatever you could put in front of me. And I went to as many meetings as you could go to. And that was worked out for me. Now, what I found was that for some people, that became the rest of their life. Lucky for me, I had an entrepreneurial spirit, and I had other things that I could do that would create and got me to kind of graduate from that identity. It got me to kind of graduate. And now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying this is the game, and I wouldn't fault anyone for their first years to be a recovering addict and to be that. I'm just saying, take a look, and people that are in 12 steps and become recovering addicts and go and they get sober for the first year or two, it's highly effective. I'm just saying there needs to be a learning curve where you start seeing that this might be another problem too. That again, I'm in the identity game and I can have a crisis here because this identity might stop validating me. It might. Nobody cares when you go into the meeting and say that you have 2 years and 4 days. Mm-hmm. It's not, nobody gives a shit. Mm-hmm. And so if that's a very dangerous, it wasn't dangerous for me, but very dangerous for people, because if they got nothing else, no experiences that they're having, nothing else that they're doing, and they don't understand this information, they didn't learn. It took me a long time to learn I was even in the identity game. I didn't know I was having an identity crisis when I was in 5th grade. I didn't know nothing about this. So I'm just trying to give that information to the young kids here and to everything. And then I'm trying to say, listen, what do you really want to be known for? Do you really want to be known just for that thing you do? Or can we reinstill hard work? Can we reinstill honesty? Reinstill what men before us, their identity was their values. There was a group of men that I know, like my father and his friends, that it didn't matter what they did. They didn't even care. Their identity was their values, men of their word, hardworking men that stood together with each other, men that would fight for the country, men that didn't complain, men that didn't share their psychological problems. And so what I don't want to be for you all is an identity repairman. And that's what some people become. Here, sit down with me. We'll show you how to change your identity and be. What do you want to do? Where are you going to go be? And rather, can you sit still? Can you feel the pain of living without an identity and just shut up for a minute? And then maybe just keep your word? Maybe just do what you say you're going to do for a little while? Maybe try being honest as a form of your new identity for a second? Maybe try being responsible. You don't just get to say you're a grateful recovering addict, because you ain't. And you might not be even recovering. You might just stop using drugs. Let's qualify that with what makes you grateful. Have you complained today? Did you help anyone else? So again, I didn't know any of this, and I dove in, and luckily I grabbed onto my identity as a treatment owner or but Angie used to tell me when this started 7 years ago or 8 years ago, For the first 4 years, Angie would call me the teacher. She would go, Art's the teacher. And I would go, stop. I don't want that identity. But now it's all right. But again, yeah, there wasn't anger. There was lost. There was just a lost kid that didn't know, that didn't want to go out with his friends from high school because what are you going to say you are? Yeah, and I didn't want to show up at the family reunion because I don't want to tell people that my main identity is this guy that doesn't do drugs anymore.
Right.
I just didn't want none. So you isolate and you won't want to talk about it. So it wasn't anger, it was just lost. What am I going to be? What am I going to be now? Renee?
That makes so much sense. Yeah, let me get her unmuted. That makes so much sense. I love, that little cam, just that little segment. That is a little package itself. Just your question and his answer. I hope everybody really listened to that. That'd be a good one to re-listen to. Renee.
Hello.
Let me swap her out.
So, Art, if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is, it's like I took some stuff from, I think it was last week, where you have to kind of like start your new groove, because all is being an addict or whatever, being the outcast or the black sheep of the family or whatever. But what I think you're saying is don't try to jump in and grab a title real quick, like I want to be a whatever, like a pilot or something like that. Instead, just kind of focus on actions every day, which is get up regularly. If you say you're going to give somebody a ride, you show up and you give them that ride. If today you say, you know what, yesterday I saw a lot of grumpy people around, so today I'm just gonna acknowledge everyone and say hello and try to change their day maybe by giving them some humanity. So from what I understand you to say is, it's not about willpower to force your way to a title. Like I'm a recovering addict. But instead, it's a day to day action. Like every single day you build upon. You start small, keeping your word, paying your bills. It's not focusing on your drugs that you're trying to avoid. It's looking forward and saying, today I'm going to show up. Today I'm going to be whatever. Is it like some more of an action life?
Being a pilot is great. And if somebody wants to be a pilot, I encourage that wholeheartedly. And if you want to be something and you want to achieve something, this is great. It doesn't mean who you are.
Right.
All I want to do with this conversation is show you what you're up to. And that's, again, it's Tuesday night. So it's every Tuesday. I just want to make you think. And are you in the identity game and we've lost this idea that, okay, yeah, you want to be a pilot. Well, but you're going to tell everyone now, you're going to try to get that now. And people want a quick and entitlement. And I think life in America used to be more long-term, and people had, and maybe it's just the people that I'm specifically hanging around sometimes, but, and maybe not, but again, I don't want to have another identity crisis, and I don't want anyone else to. So let's say that you go to be a pilot and then you're putting all your eggs in that basket and then you don't make it. You got to get loaded because now you're not, you've embarrassed yourself. And so, again, I think we need to reinstate values as our identity.
Yeah. And it's like the journey getting there, so maybe in your head, you're thinking, I want to be a pilot. Well, you're doing all these things to get there, whatever it is, schooling or just working to save money for flight school. And then you end up meeting other people that have similar interests or whatever, and you become friends, and then your path takes another turn. And that's okay too. It doesn't mean you have to be on that one rigid path,
Yeah, that's right. And even specifically what I'm trying to say is, what happens if that doesn't work?
Yeah.
What are you now? I just think that slowing down and reinstating values and saying to this identity that I am is going to culminate. It's going to show up, and it's going to show up in different forms when I do this work. Right thing long enough consistently. I think we forgot about that sometimes. And all these kids, just in their life. But again, you're sitting here and it's so difficult. So what happens is that in America right now, people set out to be something. But along the way, there's difficulties, and along the way, there's problems. And as you set out to be that, what happens is failure occurs. So I'm heading towards this identity that I told people I'm going to be. And then what happens when the failure occurs? Well, I don't get that identity. The failure's occurred, and now I have to become a victim. And that is starting part of the victim mentality, is that, oh, I really just told you all that I was going to buy a house next year. I'm actually not going to do it. Well, now how do I explain to the world that I didn't buy the house? Can it be my fault? Can I sit here and say this is something no, it's something happened to me. And so that's the other part, is people are telling us their identity before they get there.
Mhm.
And I think that this, I just think that identities were more cultivated by who a person is, not what they do. A lot of people work for Boeing, and you didn't just get to be a Boeing worker and that was a blanket statement, especially if you work for Boeing. You as a Boeing employee looked at people of honor that worked for Boeing, and you looked for the people that didn't have honor. And their identity wasn't the same. So, I'm just trying to point out the game that you're in.
Yeah,
You're in the game of-
if on your journey to wherever it is you're going, if you just show your true self and you don't hide behind things and shield yourself, you just be who you are, even if you look like a jackass sometimes, or you come off and you think you're stupid, or maybe you don't think you're in the same class as somebody you're talking with or something. It doesn't matter. If you're true to who you are, people see that, and people love the raw human being. Like I can't remember his name. I don't even know if he's on, but Z, when he showed up at our meeting a couple weeks ago.
Yuri, and he is
Yuri.
on. Yeah.
I loved him because you know what? When he spoke, I could tell that he was speaking from his soul. And when you meet people like that, there's something about them that you just go like, oh my goodness, how refreshing. So.
Yes. Yes, agreed. Great conversation, Renee. Thank you. Hey, Carrie. So Carrie just put in the chat. She said, definition of evolution, the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to more complex form.
Yeah. And how do we evolve? Like, we get better, and we get better through our values. And the evolution isn't where we got, it's who we are. Evolving as a person who's more honorable, evolving as a person who doesn't lie as much, evolving as a person who's more honest, evolving as a person whose word is stronger every day, evolving as a person who's gaining respect. And none of that has to do with what you're doing. None of it has to do with what you're doing. And none of this has to do with that. It has to do with who you are while you're doing it.
The dude in Big Lebowski.
I was so depressed. I was working for McDonald's bun plant. It was a graveyard shift. I was making all the buns for McDonald's for 5 states. I was 20 years old. I've already got into the pot and the drinking, and I'm identified as a partier, and but I'm fighting real hard to find a cool identity that works. But now I work in a uniform, and I'm sweeping buns up in the middle of a graveyard shift, and some they're washing in, making buns. And there's just buns and buns and buns rolling off this goddamn line. They never stop. And I had now at this point learned so much about a McDonald's bun that you don't even know. I mean, I can tell you anything about a McDonald's hamburger bun. You know, there's 3 kinds, right? Well, 4 when they bring back the McRib, but you got the Quarter Pounder, the Big Mac bun, and then you got the cheeseburger bun. It's not called the cheeseburger bun. It's called the regular. And the difference between a regular and a Quarter Pounder is Quarter Pounder is a little bit bigger bun with a little bit with seeds on the top, and a regular bun is nice and shiny and it's just small. And then a Big Mac bun, that's a huge tall bun that they have to cut. They have to cut it 3 times, like 2 blades. So it cuts, and then there's 2 blades that go through. And you got 3 pieces to the Big Mac bun. When you put it in a package, it falls apart. But anyways, I'm sitting there at the sweeping the floor, and I'm depressed. I'm depressed because I'm a loser. So I walked right into my boss, and he goes, "What is wrong with you tonight?" I go, "I'm a loser. It's Friday night. I'm in Sumner, Washington. This is all I'm ever going to be. I'm sweeping up buns. I'm here working with all these other family men and these losers. You know, nobody's giving me any credit, whatever I was whining about." And he looked at me and he goes, "It's not the fact that you're sweeping up buns. It's how you sweep those buns up. It's who you are while you're doing it. So why don't you just wipe that stupid fucking look off your face, smile, and sweep the goddamn buns." And I liked being talked like that because it woke me up, and I did. He goes, it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it and who you are while you're doing it. And people are watching. And these people aren't always going to be here. These people are going to be able to help you later on in life. And they're going to know that guy swept that floor with honor. He kept that floor clean. He was willing to serve. But I just wanted the identity. I wanted to find one that was cool so I could tell the girls at the party. Didn't play well, you know. You go out to the girls at the party. "I make McDonald's buns." Really?
From the plant manager.
Oh, yeah, I needed plant manager. So I did. I was fighting for that supervisor job. Yeah. No idea what I'm doing.
Thank you, Carrie. Was there anything else?
No. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I loved it. Thank you.
Yeah. So how are you evolving? And guess what? We evolve through new information. We evolve. That's why people that I help the least, or that I give the least work to, help the most, because they take the information and it helps them evolve. They use it. Comes in and it shows them a different perspective and it makes them think. Now they're a different person because their mind's open. They're able to think differently. That's helpful. The only thing that you're going to be helped by, only way someone can help you is to make you think differently. Because obviously the thinking that's happening to you isn't working. So you need to think differently. You have to be open-minded enough to let that shit come in. A new identity ain't going to help. You're still going to feel the same goddamn way. A new identity works for a couple days. You sign on, got a new job. This is my new identity. Well, guess what? 2 days later, you just got to go to fucking work. And nobody gives a shit. And there you are again. I'm this. No, you're not. You're in pain. So I some places become an identity repairman. And then some people suffer from identity depression. You know, it's real depression when somebody's got a great identity and they still can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
That shit's real. Damn, I'm a rock star with 80,000 people out in the crowd. Can't wait for me to come out and validate me and tell me how cool I am. I can't get out of bed. For me, I know I had identity depression. I don't want to get out of bed because who am I? What am I? And I don't even know how to do the work to get back to being something. So I'm going to just lay here and tell you my problems. All that identity depression. Anyone else, Ange, before we close?
No, time to wrap it up, but let's just check this out for a moment. Look at that. He's
How big is that dog? Oh my God.
She is. He or she bigger than she is. Holy moly.
Those things weigh about like 8 pounds. You pick up that biggest. Yeah, they're like 8 pounds. Barkley's like a quarter of its size, and he weighs like triple the weight. Can't even. Barkley's dense.
Yeah, he's dead. You know what I think when you talk about the identity and about the pilot?
Yeah.
We're watching the documentary, and for whatever fucking reason, the guy has former rodeo rider.
Yeah.
I'm a former manager, so it's awesome.
I just want to, again, we've been doing this for 7 years. We do it every Tuesday, or at least most of the Tuesdays. And this tonight is just always, I just think, and then I split out what I think, and I don't say it's true. And I'm not saying that you have to do it. And I'm not saying that I've done something or gone somewhere, but I've thought about all this shit. And I think about it every day. And I think about whether I'm clinging on to something or trying to be something I'm not, or whatever I'm trying to prove. And I look at it. And so this is just designed to make you think. Now, tomorrow night is group coaching, and that's the way we actually tell you what to do. That's where we tell you, hey, this is probably the best course of action to deter this human being in your life from using drugs. So let me give you this course of action. And we really know what we're talking about when we do that, because we've had tremendous success in deterring people's drug addictions and getting them here.
Yeah.
So, there's different reasoning for what we're doing. And for this Tuesday nights, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. It's not about that. It's about making you think. So I hope you thought tonight, and I hope that it continues to make you think throughout the week. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Art. Thanks, everybody. We'll see lots of you tomorrow. Good night, good night. And Sunday, barbecue.